Next up, the reigning women's all-around champion, Svetlana Boginskaya of the Soviet Union. And she won the title with performances like this one. A perfect 10 on the vault in the final rotation, breaking the heart of her arch-rival, Romania's Daniela Silivas, and bringing the all-around title back to the Soviet Union. But here she is now on the uneven bars.
And you would think those long arms and that long body would be a disadvantage on the uneven bars, but because the bars are now allowed to be so far apart, it gives her the freedom to swing through more easily, and it really accentuates her long lines. And she has a very difficult and energy-demanding dismount coming up. Right here. A big break.
We come to expect perfection from Boginskaya and are almost shocked when she's not. Brandy from China and Kristie of the United States could be the beneficiaries of that mishap.
Let's see if we can see what happens after this gorgeous toe-on, toe-off. She's going to do a double back with a full twist. This is the most difficult dismount being done, and she's just short of rotation. She can't quite pull it around. That's a major deduction.
And a major deduction in women's gymnastics is 0.5 of a point.
So the most that Svetlana could earn for that performance would be a 9.5. Her mark, 9.45. And Kristie of the United States senses that a medal is within her reach. Only one woman remains, Daniela Silivas of Romania. She's the only person who can knock Kristie out of the top 3.
And Daniela's hungry for that title. Now, she really could be the queen of comebacks. After losing the Olympics and the European all-around titles, she came back to dominate the individual event finals. Having lost the all-around title here, she'd like to do the same thing.
At age 19, some people wonder how much longer Daniela plans to compete on the international circuit.
Her style is very similar to Kristie's, and she performs almost exactly the same. It's going to be a tough decision by the judges.
Now, although Silivas didn't show the high-flying release moves that we saw from Brandy, where she gets her points is with these combinations here. Stalder, pirouette, there's the Delchev. That is a little low considering the world-class standards that Brandy and Boginskaya showed. But once again, after she does a pirouette here, this is called a Stalder, and a full pirouette, these combinations will gain her bonus points.
But is her performance good enough in the eyes of the judges? A perfect 10 will tie her with Brandy. Anything better than 9.95 will knock Kristie out of a medal. Here's the mark, a perfect 10. Daniela has done it.
And Kristie's saying it just isn't fair, and I think she knew as soon as she saw Silivas hit her dismount that she had lost the medal. Now, considering what we saw from Brandy on the uneven bar, Silivas was really given a generous score, at least the benefit of the doubt.
Well, Kathy, there's no question that having paid your dues in the sport of gymnastics counts for a lot when you get to the event finals.
So Brandy and Silivas take home the gold, and Donna Deverona is with Kristie, who missed the bronze.
Kristie, a fantastic performance on the unevens. Coming in here, I don't think anybody expected you to be that close. Maybe you did. And then it wound up, you're fourth by 25 1/1000ths of a point. So close.
Yes, it was. And I mean, I knew coming into this competition that it's going to be close. I mean, I don't care what event, all around, it's every little thing counts. I came to this competition wanting to do every little thing right because I knew it would be that close. But like you said, there's probably a lot of people that didn't know that I was going to do that perfect over a routine.
But you knew.
But I knew that I could get a 10-0. And one of the judges did give me a 10-0. And it makes me feel good to know that, at least in someone's eyes, it was a perfect routine.
So a solid effort for Kristie and a performance that bodes well for her future. Coming up next, America's Brandy Johnson, as our coverage of the World Gymnastics Championships continues. Welcome back to Stuttgart, West Germany, and more of the World Gymnastics Championships. The individual apparatus finals. The women's vault is underway, an event that will feature America's Brandy Johnson, but this is Romania's Christina Bontas.
Now, the gymnast must perform 2 vaults from 2 different categories of style, and both scores count. Bontas received a 9.975 on her first vault, had a little hop there on her second vault, and it's somewhat more difficult for her because she does it less often in competition.
Now this vault is called a cuervo. It's a handspring here, half turn, and then a piked back. Notice a little leg separation and sloppy on the landing. You got to stick the landings if you're going to win in vault finals.
The score for Christina's second vault, 9.925, for an average score of 9.950. Now this is Olessia Dudnik of the Soviet Union.
And she's performing a double twisting Yurchenko. And it's very difficult to land that well when you're spinning so quickly.
Most of the world's best gymnasts are using this Yurchenko vault. Notice she does a round off before she gets to the board, a back handspring onto the horse. But what makes this vault so difficult is she cranks 2 twists before she lands.
And if Svetlana Boginskaya is the reigning queen of Soviet gymnastics, Olessia is the heir apparent. And there it is, a perfect 10 for her first vault.
And what's so wonderful about Olessia is that she's beautiful to watch in the balance beam and the floor exercise, but she's also extremely powerful. Now, as I said before, the second vault tends to be a little more tentative because they've performed it less often, but she doesn't have any trouble there on that handspring front tuck with a half twist.
Olessia needs a 9.912 to move into first place in front of Christina Bontas of Romania. Just 4'11", 88 pounds. And what a contrast she is in body type to America's Brandy Johnson, who's a little more solid, more mature. In fact, Brandy reminds many people of another famous American gymnast. Here's Donna Deverona with more.
Comparisons between Brandy Johnson and retired Olympic gold medalist marylewdretton are unavoidable. 2 powerful and explosive athletes with the ability to handle pressure. Pressure at the international level is enormous, particularly so in the here-today, gone-tomorrow world of women's gymnastics. When she had to be, marylewdretton was perfect. She knew how to turn the pressure of competition inward to psych herself up and not out.
Brandy has won every major competition in the United States, and she is by far our, world championship hopeful for a medal. But it's so difficult to stay on top for such a long time. In gymnastics, a woman's career is very short. You start at a very young age, maybe 6 or 7, and you relatively peak in your late teens, 16, 17, 18. Because after that time, your body's changing, Mother Nature's taking over, and you're turning into a woman. And really, psychologically, you're changing. Take a Kristie Phillips, for instance. 1986, 87, she's on the cover of Sports Illustrated, the next Mary Lou. Incredible gymnast, the top in America at that time. And she hit it. She hit that growing spurt. She grew 5 inches. She gained about 10 pounds. And she looked normal.
That was the hardest time of my life. Not, going on a strict diet, the pressures of dieting, the pressures of competing, the pressures of pleasing your parents, your coaches, the media, your fans, pleasing yourself, pleasing, all these people you got to please. And the pressures are so high. And then you got to be on the strict diet, and there's nothing you can really do to get it all off your mind. Other than going in and working and working and working, which gets more painful and more painful and more painful because you're starting to mature, and these things happen, and you just have to deal with them the best you can.
Kristie missed the Seoul Games by a foot fault. The next Olympics are 2 years away, a lifetime for a maturing young girl.
As long as I keep my body, lean and as strong as I was when I was smaller, I really don't think it'll be a problem.
2 athletes with 2 very different endings to the same story. Both marylou and Kristie say they wouldn't change a thing. As for Brandy Johnson, her story is still unfolding, and that's exactly how she wants it.
I just love competition, and I think that's why I commit myself to the sport. And I don't know anything else. I know other sports and stuff, but this is what makes me happy.